Hello and welcome to this session at LTDX. We have Sophie, Lazard and Bérengère Pery from Glowbl. They are presenting on Truly Experience the Fun of Learning and Teaching. I encourage you to ask questions so I can put that to them at the end of the session. Over to you.
Hi everybody, I'm very happy to be with you today. My team and I have prepared a very rich video about how to truly experience the fun of teaching and learning. See you after.
Hi, let's start with a short introduction. Before the COVID crisis, virtual classrooms were only representing about 15% of the distance learning offer. Now you cannot do without them. Well, on the condition of using the right tool. I guess that if you're watching this video today, it's because you may have had tiring or unengaging online sessions. You're probably curious about finding new ways and tools to stimulate your virtual classroom and seminars. During the past few months, the Glowbl team has been working very hard to bring the right features to our platform. Thanks to a close collaboration with our clients and also with professionals from the learning, facilitation and learning industry, we have designed a unique solution to truly experience the fun of learning and teaching. Now, what about showing you a short teaser video to show you what Glowbl looks like? During this video, we will also explain why online session might fail. We'll give you some tips and we'll tell you what to focus on to create an experience to be remembered. Of course, we'll show you how Glowbl can help you. Thank you very much for the inputs of our partners, Cup of Learning, Capgemini and others. Enjoy the presentation and see you after.
Imagine you turn up to give your lesson. You already set everything up. It's a bit bleak in here. Could we add a few posters? Perfect. Here come the first students. Paul, Sarah, Ruben. Crikey, what's her name again? Ah, yes, Jessica, that's it. Barely in the room and they're already swapping business cards. Is everyone here? Let's get started. Imagine drawings, videos, data. You can project anything and everyone can interact. Hey, no snoozing over there. Damien, this is where it's happening. Justine, stop chatting. Focus. Right, let's break into groups. Here they're working hard. It's lively over there and there's a debate going on. And you're on the right track. Let's get back together again. Okay, a quick show of hands. Do you prefer working at home or in the office? Ah, I see there are a few home-working fans still in their pajamas. Okay, the date of our next session is on the board. Yes, Elliot. We'll talk about that together next time. Imagine, this solution already exists. It's called Glowbl.
Well, 2020 was a very special year. We all had to dive into the digital pool and learn how to swim. No time to get ready and really choose the appropriate tools for distant learning. No wonder that technology has taken over from our real needs for teaching and learning. The first problem: participants feel disengaged due to dehumanized virtual environments. Mere video conferencing is desperately restrictive. It locks people into boxes, turning participants into passive players, which actually contributes to their fatigue. I mostly see solutions where people are just simply represented by their name and surname initials. That's awfully cold and dehumanizing. No wonder why participants gradually disengage, they kind of disappear, and may finally choose to disconnect and leave. The second problem is group interactions are rigid, and this generates apathy. Interaction between people and the different groups are hampered by rigid formats. Going to a menu, creating lists of people, sending them automatically somewhere. That's blunt, a kind of straitjacket. We noticed that this feeling of apathy mainly results from the inability to smoothly switch from one group to the other, from having on-the-spot private conversations with other participants. The third problem, it's too complicated and tedious for facilitators and trainers. CAN tools are mostly too complex so that facilitators cannot concentrate on the content and the learning or the seminar experience. Facilitators claim they spend too much energy and time on the tools or jumping from one tool to the other. In particular, implementing subgroups can be very complex. Eventually, facilitators cannot create any sustained group dynamics, thus hampering the pleasure of teaching or interactions.
Hello, Virginie. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you very much for your testimonial, because I have some questions for you.
Oh, thank you, Sophie. Hi. Very glad to be here.
Great. Thank you. So during the past year, most of the players have handled their virtual classroom with existing Visio solutions, more or less adapted to this use. And we have heard a lot about Teams fatigue and Zoom fatigue. What is your feedback after this special period?
Well, last year we were in a crisis and companies had to adapt quickly. So many took their face-to-face content and used it in virtual classrooms with minimum adaptations. So it was just assumed that virtual classroom was the solution to take over face-to-face classroom. And we've seen all the downsides of this, too much content and mainly text, where people were driven into cognitive overload, or not enough visual support, which forces participants to actively listen for long periods of time, and it is exhausting. Lack of skills for virtual facilitation as well. Facilitators were not feeling comfortable at speaking to a black screen or to use the tools to engage with participants. And also it ended up with a lack of regular interactions with participants. And it is so easy to be distracted, when you're attending a virtual class. Also, it was assumed still at this period that it was possible to multitask. So now it's time to upskill and start to think differently about the approach of virtual training. A virtual class should be structured, and the focus should be on the experience rather than the content. So be clear about the learning objectives and ask yourself whether a virtual class is the best modality to reach that objective.
Okay, thank you. And in terms of training course design, which issues have you observed, and what recommendation would you make to engage the audience better?
So as said, going digital should bring an experience. And one common mistake that we've observed at Cup of Learning is companies focusing on delivering content rather than focusing on that experience left to learners. So it is key to surprise learners, to wake up their mind and keep them on their toes to avoid disengaging. And that's why using the wide range of possibilities offered by the webinar platform, and I'm talking there about an appropriate platform dedicated to training, to interact with participants is important. So do not solely rely on what you are comfortable with. If you're using chat and have 40 participants in the room, how can you check that all of them are engaged? So it is important to specify that engagement does not happen by chance. It has to be planned in the instructional design, and enough time should be allocated to avoid creating frustrations for participants. And have regular breaks as well. It's been demonstrated that the curve of attention raise each time after a break. So have proper break in your class, at least 10 minutes where people can recharge and come again. They have time to deal with their email if needed, or to go out to re-energize, and then to come fresh for the next part of your course. And time is critical, really, in a virtual classroom. So planning, we are always, trying to make it short and to the point, but actually they need time, and they want time to interact with their peers and to be able to share their experience, because we are adults. So this is what adult learning is about, sharing experience and learning and building on previous experience as well. So to summarize, embed your interaction in your presentation and vary interaction as much as possible and plan enough time. So my advice is, once you've finished to design your course, take an helicopter view and evaluate if you are regularly engaging with participants, so at least every 2 to 3 minutes, and if you vary interactions enough. Keep it dynamic and smooth.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And I guess that now bridging distance and in-house learning is a good strategy to offer a more diverse learning experience. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I'm a big advocate of virtual learning. I think that last year everyone realized the power of virtual classrooms. However, a virtual class should not be an isolated event, but part of a blended learning. So once you've identified the overall goal and learning objectives, classify content between 2 categories. The first one is asynchronous. So what can they read, watch, listen to prepare for the class? And what can they read, watch, and listen after the class to dig deeper? And then there is the asynchronous part, which is what should be in the class itself. So a virtual class should give the privilege to interactions to maximize engagement. Learning for learning is useless, unless you take the time to reflect and to understand how you are going to use it in your day-to-day job. So this reflection time is critical. And being able to share that with your peers, in a virtual classroom, and to create together, where this is where you can see the power of the virtual class. So even though everyone has been missing interactions, face-to-face interaction, I do think virtual classroom is going to stay, as it is time efficient and cost efficient, and also it's good for the planet, isn't it? But we need now to measure the impact. Otherwise, we only have a feeling, and you only need a bad experience, to make an assumption that it doesn't work. So it's about evaluating how was the experience, because interesting is not good enough, to provoke a change in behavior. So you should have had some haha moments in the class. And what do people remember 1 day later, 1 week later, and 1 month later? So you can refer to the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve for that. And all of this comes to instructional design.
Okay. Thank you very much, Virginie. Thank you for for your thoughts, and we wish you good luck for the rest of the summer.
Thank you very much for having me. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Glowbl lets you create virtual spaces made up of different working tables where we want participants to feel useful and engaged. Why? To help them develop a sense of belonging and become an active player during the session. On Glowbl, everybody, meaning teachers, trainers, facilitators, students, they are all represented by a bubble on which their webcam flow is displayed, or just their picture to be identified. Not initials, not a standard picture, but the picture of the day, because hey, you don't look the same every day. Each person is responsible for their own bubble and can move it around freely. You can drag and drop your bubble from one table to another when you're required to, or when you want to get closer to a team member or get to know someone, for example. Being free to move is very important because it's a way to empower the audience and make them remember things. Feeling free and therefore open to the unexpected lets you capable of seizing the essence of the experience. Many communication channels are available to interact just like in a real room. Public chat, private conversations to whisper to your neighbor, webcam and microphone, etc. The administrator chooses what features are available. If they are not allowed to talk, participants can also just raise their hand to ask for talking and everybody sees. In order to create group cohesion, you want people to have a good time to remember. To do so, you can share mood emojis directly on your bubble. It's a nice way to express instantly emotions and reactions visible by everyone. Networking is also essential. That's why we created the digital business card. This way, you can give more information on yourself for people checking your profile. You can add your website, your biography, and a link to your social networks, such as LinkedIn. Creating connections beyond the global session and extending your network is priceless for professionals. By creating the proper conditions for natural dialogue, you can expect to generate collective intelligence and knowledge that will be remembered. The global virtual space consists of several collaborative tables for breakout groups. It means that subgroups are located in the same space. They are very easy to create and to join. Therefore, you can alternate smoothly between periods of work in groups and subgroups. To develop the group skills and make people work together, you can share and handle a multitude of business and teaching content such as documents, PDF, pictures, your screen, videos, YouTube videos. Besides, you can very easily switch from one content to another. Creating co-developed deliverables is made easy thanks to the whiteboard or the collaborative notes, perfect for brainstorming and sharing ideas. Glowbl also integrates external tools that can be used without leaving the page, starting with Miro and Google Drive files. You can open and edit Google Slides, Google Documents and Google Sheets directly on Glowbl tables. And you always see who is doing what. Finally, to boost live interactions, we offer additional features such as polling and a public announcement to give information to all groups at the same time. To organize the subgroups, you can divide participants orally by saying who is going where. Or you can share a room map on which you write the group's composition. Or you can ask participants to split randomly or according to a specific topic. You will save lots of time and students will take action and feel engaged. Glowbl is at the service of the hosts, facilitators, teachers, managers. We help them implement their teaching strategy effectively. First, to make things easier for them, the virtual space is permanent. It means that lasting spaces, but also content, are always available from one session to the next. Preloading materials and preparing activities in advance is a big comfort. They are stored in the library and can be found again easily, no matter what space the trainer is connected to. By the way, going from one room to another is easy, in a click from the dashboard. Spaces can be fully customized to your brand identity with logotype and background. You can also customize the subtables graphics with colors, background texture and description. This large range of options gives you lots of opportunities to take your audience away from their daily working environment and bring them into specific atmospheres. It gives grounding to the training plan. To prepare and stage efficiently the session, the organizer can set up specific participants' permissions on each table. For example, you can choose to restrict the central table interactions to raising hands. On a breakout group, you can give all rights to talk, share and manipulate the content. It's your choice, and you can even record what is going on each table. As the room can stay open if you want, you can let the participants get in before to make a tour, test their device, say hi to the others, check what the room looks like, etc. When the session begins, you don't need to worry about checking everything all the time, because you've got a constant visibility on the group of bubbles and on each participant in their individual bubble. Even when they are dispatched all over the virtual space, just zoom out to see all tables and all the bubbles. Use the engagement indicator to feel the group and the motivation. When bubbles turn grey, you should wonder, should I launch an activity? Should I suggest a break? Because it means that your audience is a bit less engaged on another tab or checking their emails, for example. As the group really exists and as you always have an idea about the dynamics at a glance, you can run your session effectively and present in a dynamic way without being subjected to technical downtime.
We met Glowbl just before the lockdown last year. We were then looking for a virtual classroom tool capable of reproducing a face-to-face learning experience. 2 points were exceptionally appealing with the Glowbl solution. On the one hand, the complete view of the classroom with all the tables in it in a single eyesight. On the other hand, the easy move from one table to the other. We immediately started testing the solution. Glowbl has become a must-have at Capgemini, in particular to support 2 of our mainstream programs. One of those 2 is the onboarding of 4,000 people. The experience of mobility is awesome and so close to a face-to-face environment. We love the concept of tables, the ability to prepare them before the session starts. It's easy to see what's happening on each table. Glowbl is really perfect to promote exchanges, facilitate small groups brainstorms on a given subject, play serious games, practice by teams of 2 the lesson learned on the main table. Glowbl SaaS service enables an easy access to external people to the company. We are therefore designing new use cases for Glowbl, such as a showroom to promote our know-how to our customers. First of all, we were absolutely not searching for a video conference solution. We had already an extensive experience of such solutions and had experienced their limitations. We imagined some immersive environment where to welcome participants in a single, consistent space. We wanted to get rid of the need to send multiple links to many different rooms. We had to facilitate training to smaller and bigger groups and guessed a solution would be available somewhere. This is when we met Glowbl. The user experience and ease of use for participants and for facilitators have really convinced us. Also, embedded animation tools were on their roadmap and have been delivered since then by a very effective team. We eventually found this solution which actually enables participants to be engaged. Participants actively take part in their own training, seminar or collective intelligence workshop. Hence, they can move along the Glowbl virtual space from one table to the other, with no need to jump from one link to the other.
Breaking the ice on Glowbl is even more important for hybrid and distance learning. On Glowbl, many games are easy to organize to create group cohesion, but also to make participants learn how to use the platform without using other tools and other websites. The ergonomics offered on Glowbl are powerful for teaching designers and should open many opportunities to set up engaging sessions and pedagogical activities. Unlike other technological products, Glowbl offers a very simple user experience, which makes ice-breaking games a very pleasant moment for everybody. They can be very serious, but you can also catch the attention with very fun moments like blind test or mime games. A very simple way to get started with is to ask, "How are you doing today?" and give your audience a reason to listen. You can share a picture seen by everybody at the same time and ask them to drag and drop their bubble against their emotion of the day. You can use the chat as well or the raising hand feature. What's great is that you can see exactly who is doing what without opening a menu. Let's see now another example on how to enjoy and use the Glowbl experience. Polls can be done in so many ways. The classic way would be by sharing your question. You can even project the results to create a discussion among the audience. Another fun way to launch a survey is to use the bubbles and the movement of the bubbles. For the option 1, ask your audience to take the bubble on the left of the table. For the option 2, on the right of the table. To go further in terms of pedagogical design, you can create different teaching and learning activities on Glowbl by using the breakout tables and the free movement of the participants. For example, walk cafes and mind mapping sessions are perfect on Glowbl. The walk cafe is a popular teaching and learning activity. The creative process stimulates the dialogue and collective intelligence by using tables in one space and making people moving from one to another. By setting the group in motion, they can share ideas and build a proposal. That's exactly what Glowbl tables and moving bubbles offer. I would strongly recommend to be ambitious in instructional design. Go and create immersive and fun sessions for your audience. That's how they will remember the experience and how you will meet your teaching goals.
Okay, I hope that you've enjoyed our presentation, and now I would like to give you some very important words about Glowbl. We are a SaaS platform providing access to secure, lasting virtual spaces in just one click. We are, of course, GDPR compliant, and data is stored in Europe. I also want to insist on the fact that Glowbl can integrate with most of LMS platforms and other web apps. Our company was created 10 years ago in Lyon, France. Our team is made up of 20 people and experts. We have 7 patents in the world to prove our uniqueness. Glowbl has been recently selected to join the Scale Up Excellence Program, a program supported by the French Tech for innovative companies that grow quickly in France and abroad. More than 200,000 users have chosen Glowbl, so let's get in touch and we'll be very happy to talk about your projects.
Hello and welcome back. Thank you for that presentation. I've got some questions for you, so I'm going to go right into them if that's okay. So the first one is, what's the differences between Glowbl and Wonder.me?
I cannot hear Sophie.
Sophie, we can't hear you.
Okay, I'll take over, I think, over the
Do
question.
you want to take?
Yes, I will. Sorry about that. Well, the main difference
okay.
that I was fine.
Can you hear me? Okay, sorry.
Yes, it's okay.
Yes.
So there are plenty differences between Glowbl and Wonder.me, and there are common points. The common point is that you can move freely in the space, but then you cannot share contents like we do on Glowbl. And the objective to share on Glowbl is to collaborate on any type of content, like any document of a Google Sheet, but also on a whiteboard, and then on a collaborative notes. And you can annotate documents and so on, which you cannot do on Wonder.me. And the other difference is also that you can be much more people around one table to collaborate on the Glowbl than on Wonder. Wonder, it's really restricted to some people. On Glowbl, you can be over 30, 40 people around the table, and then you will share on subgroups.
So Helen's asked, can you store chats and content that have been used in the sessions, or are they gone once the session is finished?
Bérengère, you can...
Yeah, I will. What we basically think is that if you're not here, you cannot see the chat. It's like a real conversation. You need to be live. If you're not sharing a conversation with somebody, well, you lose it. Well, basically. But we worked on that. And the good news is that next September, the chat will be stored for the administrator.
Okay, thank you. No, that's great to know. David's asked, can you please explain how a student is trained or prepared to use the platform?
Okay, so Glowbl is very friendly, actually. It's different. So, of course, you need to be, to have the first start with the platform. But actually, it's very easy. Then we have done some very short videos for new people coming on Glowbl for their first connection. And it's less than 1 minute. And Glowbl is very intuitive, actually, because you move like in the physical life. I will not say in the real life, because actually digital and virtual is the real life today. But you move and you speak, and you place yourself around one table or in the space like in the physical life. So it's very intuitive, actually.
Yeah, and I'd like to add something. To train your students, there are many contents that can be shared with us. We've got video tutorials, user guides. As Sophie said, there is the step-by-step tutorial when you join a virtual room. And something else is that we strongly recommend to organize ice-breaking sessions with your students when you get online. And these games and ice-breaking help the students to use the main features. And once you use it once, it's very easy to keep using them.
And this is the fun of learning. Absolutely, Bérengère. Thank you for this.
Yeah, great. So Greg has asked, how do recordings work? What's actually captured?
Yeah, recording is very important. So you can launch a recording on each table. So when you launch a recording, you can choose to record what's going on one table, on two tables, or on all the tables. Then we are GDPR compliant. It means that we cannot record people who do not wish to get recorded. So as the administrator, you can choose to record the content that is being shared, the voice and the webcam of the main speakers, and the public chat. So you won't see the movement of the bubbles, you won't see the identity of the people on their bubbles, and you won't see, of course, the private conversations.
Okay. So a follow-up question is, how accessible is the software?
How accessible is the software? Very easy. We are a SaaS software. So, yeah, that was your question.
Accessible.
Is it in terms, yeah, accessible? Well,
yeah,
many efforts have been made on the accessibility on Glowbl. We work with French universities and French public institutions, and it's important to meet with some requirements. So we're doing some efforts on that with the icons, with the ability to see the text and to move easily from one menu to another. And we're still working on it. It's not complete, but we're working on it.
This is our roadmap for 2020, well, end of 21, beginning of 22.
Okay, fantastic. Deborah's asked, does it integrate well with Microsoft applications, or is it better to use Google?
Okay, so this is a very good question, and thank you for this. The first thing to say is that you understood that Google is already integrated on our tables. So as long as you have the rights on any document that is shared on a drive, people can collaborate on that document. So this is very easy. Now, with Microsoft, we are currently, have some conversations with them, and we are working on it. And I'm sure that it will be online in the next few months. But you need to know that already we have a lot of clients that are using Microsoft Teams with Glowbl on the side, because Glowbl offers an experience that is not available for sure on Microsoft solutions.
Yeah, and to complete what you say, the companies using Microsoft applications can still use Glowbl on the tables. Of course, they will need to share their screen to collaborate on the document. They won't be able at the moment to edit at the same time. But as Sophie said, we are in discussions with Microsoft.
And the collaborative note is already available as a Word document. So if you create a collaborative note on Glowbl, you will be able to use it afterwards as a Word document.
Yeah, no, that's great. Deborah's also asked, what English support is there? Most of most of the demos she's seen have not been in English.
Well, it's true that Sophie and I are French. We cannot contest that. But just so you know, Glowbl is completely bilingual. The platform is bilingual. The website is bilingual. The content is bilingual. French, English at the moment. We're planning on adding new languages. But when the tutorials, yes, are currently being made in English. It's true. And most of the team is French at the moment. We do have English-speaking people in our team to develop European countries mostly. So no, you need to be good on this point.
No, that's fine. Well, it sounds like you're making some efforts towards that, so that's great. Justine has asked, can Glowbl integrate with other tools to collaborate, such as Draft.io?
Yeah, well, the objective of Glowbl is to allow a collaboration on any content. So we have integrated Google, as we said, but not only Google. We have also integrated Draft.io, which is a Kanban method. It's very used by developers, and also Miro or Miro. I don't know how it is named in English. It's a very good. Well, it's a whiteboard, but not only a whiteboard, it's a co-creation tool. So it is very interesting as well for facilitations and for team building and for any team project. And so this is available as well on Glowbl. And our desire, our roadmap is to integrate any collaborative tool in our tables, because this is our objective, to be a layer for the teams to collaborate on any content, but to have an experience, a very different experience, because then you can move from a table to another and not only work as a team, but also share on groups and then follow your project all along it lasts. You've all understood that our tables have library on it, so you can move from a table to another one, and then all your documents are indexed, and you will have the possibility to find them again, to work on it. We do not work on sessions. It's like a place with its libraries.
I just like to add something, Sophie, in case people didn't realize that with what we do, thanks to the collaborative tables, we integrate the Miro board, the draft board, the mural board, I think too. It means that the trainer with the trainees can stay in the room and do all the things at the same time without leaving the page. They don't need to go from one tab to another, sending a URL in the chat saying, hey guys, I'll see you on another tab. And at the end, you don't know where people are and what they collaborated on. So that's what we want to solve, the problem we want to solve.
Yeah, no, fantastic. That's great. We've had another question. What can Glowbl bring to a learning management system?
Well, for an LMS, what is great is that we offer the possibility to enhance the experience that you have on an LMS, because then you can train on virtual classroom with an experience which is completely different to the experience that you have with usual tools of videos. I mean, we are not a video conference tool. We are a tool where people will collaborate together, will really work on papers and on lessons, they will find again their classroom if it is a lesson which lasts during several sessions. And it's not only an experience of seeing each other. So we come on an LMS in order to enhance really the experience of the virtual classroom.
So the next question I've got is, what use cases are the best with Glowbl?
Yeah, well, obviously, virtual classrooms, obviously. Corporate seminars to, when you want to gather your teams all together and then you want to make them work together, think about something, brainstorm, and then share with the group. But our clients often use Glowbl currently today for HR seminars and recruitment sessions, different kind of digital events for companies, the HR departments, the communication departments, and the training departments.
As long as you want to have people having and getting interactions each between, in small groups and then again together, and to put participants in a very active role, then Glowbl is a good solution.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Can you talk a little bit about tracking and user engagement and assessment within Glowbl?
Yeah. So currently about the assessment, we do not integrate a complete quiz tool. It's just that it's not really our job to do so. We are here for the live interactions. The quiz is a personal test that you will be sending to your trainees. So you can do that by just sharing the link to the test you want to. About the user engagement, I'll start with the funny thing. We talked about the bubble turning gray. I hope you saw that. It means that when a bubble turns gray, it means that this person may not be that engaged. They may be on another page or doing something else. So when it's just one person, it's fine. It's when all your audience turning gray, you can wonder, okay, is that interesting what I'm saying? Do I need to launch an activity? Should I offer a break? This kind of thing.
Yeah,
regarding
it's very important to have the complete dynamic of the group.
And regarding the user engagement, in other terms, for example, how people interacted on the content, what kind of chats have they shared, if they use the poll features, for example, we are currently working on this thing to have some data for the company. It's not actually ready at the moment. We're working on it this summer, so it's a good news.
We've just got a couple of other questions that have come in. So George has asked, it says on your website, we set up your digital twin. What does that mean?
I think that Sophie's, vas-y Sophie, go.
The digital twin is just because what we want to say is that we can, on Glowbl, have an experience very close to the physical one. And you've understood that a lot of our clients not only use Glowbl as a virtual classroom, they also use it for seminars, for forums, and for other events when they want to put people together in a collaborative and very active way. So actually, it's exactly like in the physical life. So this is the reason why we called it a digital twin. So you can have several spaces. You've understood that the spaces are permanent. So we do not work again in session. So as long as you have created a space, then you can go on it, you can close it, but you can leave it open. So people, they can come back in the space, find their documents, perhaps find their colleagues as well, because perhaps they have some colleagues that are working on the space at the moment. So this is the objective of the digital twin.
Yeah. I'm going to ask this question and slide it in there. Glowbl, does it integrate with Slido?
Well, Slido at the moment is not integrated into Glowbl, but it's exactly what we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
It's exactly the kind of tool we can integrate. Well, we need to check on that, but quite easily, just like Marrow, just like Draft, like Google Drive. That's really the objective, of course. We weren't asked by a client so far, so we didn't do it. But we might. Really, we want people to ask us about Slido. Slido.
Fantastic. So we've come to the end of the session. Please keep the conversation going. There's some questions on the platform, so please go and have a look, and you'll be able to connect with Sophie and Bérengère. And the last job I have is to say thank you very much, and I will see you at the next session.
Thank you so much.